everybody. Welcome to episode 148 of Cameron's Post Podcast. It's your host, Cameron Lindsay. I'm back with a brand new episode. Today's episode, we'll be making my college football quarterfinal predictions. Like I said, we're off to the next round. Like I said, round one about a week ago. We're on round two. Starts this Thursday. Not this Thursday. Wednesday and Thursday. So, we got a couple games. Let's get right into it. So, first matchup, we got number 10 Miami. 11-2 going against number 2 Ohio State at 12-1. This will be on New Year's Eve at 7:30 p.m. And we played the Goodyear Cotton Ball at Jerry World in Arlington, Texas. Miami, in the first round, they defeated number 7 Texas A&M 10-3. It was a very low scoring game. I had picked Texas A&M because, I believe that Texas A&M was a better team, especially playing at home. The 12th man that loud, that stadium about 100,000 people, and that big stadium, loud stadium. I just felt like Texas A&M slightly maybe had the better offense than Miami. Like I said, even though I like Malachi Tony, and a few of their other weapons, but I just feel like I don't know if I completely trust Carson Beck. And like I said, now Miami didn't win this game because of Carson Beck. They won this game because of their defense. Ruben Bain, Miami defensive end, 6'3", 260 pounds. That man is a force. He's definitely going to be a top draft pick in the 2026 NFL draft. And I'll say this, like, that offensive lineman I saw, it was maybe a couple days or a week, a few days before the game. Something he said, he's talking about they're not worried about Ruben Bain. They got guys that can handle their own against them. Ruben Bain had I think he had like 2-3 sacks. I know he at least had 2 in that game I was watching. But he had a great game against Texas A&M, and I'm like, are you sure you can handle him? Exactly. So that was definitely the reason why Miami won that game. Secondly, the running back Mark Fletcher Jr. had a monster game. He had 17 carries, 172 yards versus Texas A&M. And like I said, I think he was definitely the main reason why they won the game, even though Malachi Tony scored the game-winning touchdown to put them up 10-3. But it wouldn't be possible without Mark Fletcher. Like I said, he had a monster game against Texas A&M because, like I said, he was the reason why Miami was really able to move the ball against that Texas A&M defense. And, like I said again, Miami does have a legit defense. Like I said, they had a freshman, I forgot his name, number 13. He had 2 interceptions off of Marcel Reed. He balled out. So, really, Miami's freshmen, their safety, Malachi Tony, the receiver, they've been balling out and stepping up. But like I said, you going against Ohio State, that's a different animal than Texas A&M. You got the best player in the country on offense and the best player on defense on the same team, and Jeremiah Smith at wide receiver for Ohio State, and Caleb Downs at safety for Ohio State. So this is a different animal. You also got Carnell Tate, who's also potentially going to be a first-round pick in the 2026 draft. He's on there. So they got weapons. You got Bo Jackson, freshman running back for Ohio State, 1,000-yard rusher. You also got Fleming, not Fleming. Dang, I forgot his name, y'all. I'll remember it later. But you also got a lot of other players in that roster too. So, I can't forget Julian Sayin, redshirt freshman, Heisman Trophy finalist. Definitely can't forget him. He's been balling out. There's a reason why he was a Heisman Trophy finalist in the first place. And like I said, I just think that Ryan Day is clearly, I think, the better coach. If I had to sum it down, okay, who got the better head coach? It's Ohio State. Who got the better offensive players? It's Ohio State. Who got the better defense? I'll have to give it to Ohio State. Actually, even though Miami has a really good defense, I'll still have to give it to Ohio State. Because it's like, okay, would you take Ruben Bain or would you take Caleb Downs? Either way, because, you want to get to the pass rusher, but I think Caleb Downs arguably could be the best defensive player in the 2026 NFL draft. Him or Ruben Bain, it probably go back and forth, doing mock drafts and everything. So, but I think it's slightly Ohio State. Quarterback play, I think Julian Sayin is better than Carson Beck. So, yeah, with that being said, I just think that even though it's a neutral site field, I just think Ohio State is going to end up too much for Miami, because if you can only put up 10 points against Texas A&M and struggle that whole game, you can't do that against Ohio State. Because are you sure in the corners are going to be up to stopping Jeremiah Smith, Carnell Tate? I don't know. So I got Ohio State 27-16. It'll probably keep it close from maybe half of the game or majority, but I think Ohio State's going to end up pulling away and being just a little bit too much for Miami. 27-16. I got Ohio State advancing to the semifinal. Next up, we got number 5 Oregon at 12-1, taking on number 4 Texas Tech. Also at 12-1. This will be January 1st on New Year's Day, 12 p.m. noon, in the Orange Bowl. Oregon in the first round, they played James Madison, 12th rank. They defeated them 51-34 in the first round at home. Quarterback Dante Moore went 19-27, 313 yards, 4 passing touchdowns, 1 rushing. Wide receivers Malik Benson and Jeremiah McMillan both had 119 yards and 83 yards receiving. Malachi Benson had 119 yards receiving, and Jeremiah McMillan had 83 yards receiving. Now, like I said, I know a lot of people, I'll say this, a lot of people mad because, and I see analysts, ESPN, Fox Sports, college football, all platforms, all major sports platforms saying they're tired of group of 5 teams, don't deserve to be in. And I'm not going to say that. I'll say this. I'll say 1. I think they could change it to 1 automatic. They should keep it to 1 that should get a playoff bid. The highest rank should get 1. But the highest it can go is 12th rank. It can't be no higher than that. That's what I feel like. If you're a group of 5 team, I think you could, if you're the highest rank, you deserve to get in, but you're gonna have to be the lowest seed. So you're most likely you ain't gonna be able to get a home playoff game, because I just feel like I said again, you don't have the hardest schedule. There are teams that probably are better. So I feel like if you're gonna get in, you're gonna have to play on the road. I feel like that's how I would do it. But James Madison's not a bad team. Like I said, I think they deserve to get in. But it just happens. But people act like that group of 5 teams never have defeated Power 4 schools before in major bowl games or anything like that. I've seen Tulane beat Caleb Williams team, the same Caleb Williams that's leading the Chicago Bears to the playoffs now, beat them in a New Year's Six bowl, the Cotton Bowl. I've seen UCF defeat Auburn in the Peach Bowl. I've seen schools like before West Virginia was in the Big 12 when they had Geno Smith and Tavon Austin beat Clemson, put up 70 points on a Clemson team. I think that was led by Dabo Swinney. Now, granted, that was before Dabo started winning national championships, but still put up 70 points when they was in the Big East. So, but like I said, Oregon. I picked Oregon to beat James Madison. Because, like I said, they're just too good, too physical for them, too fast. I think they clearly the better team, got the better coach in Dan Lanning, got a better quarterback in Dante Moore, who potentially, if he decides to declare for the draft, he's going to be one of the top prospects in the 2026 draft if he decides to declare. So they handle their business. Now, granted, I know a lot of Oregon players I heard in the locker room was quiet because they was mad that they gave up over 400 yards of offense to James Madison and 34 points. But really, the score 51-34, it really wasn't that close. I think Oregon was up majority of the game. I just think that James Madison, as a game, when you're a team and you're up early, so big on the team, and you might take out some backups, or you may take your foot off the gas pedal a little bit, and next that team starts scoring a little bit more points. It happens. So I think Oregon's gonna be a little bit more motivated in this matchup. Now, this ain't gonna be easy because Texas Tech is a legit great team. I seen them dominate BYU twice this season. Well, once in the regular season, once in the Big 12 championship. They got a Heisman Trophy candidate in their linebacker. So it's not gonna really surprise me if Texas Tech really keeps this game close or ends up winning this game. So, but I feel like with Oregon and Texas Tech, I just feel like I just trust Oregon a little bit more because they do have the more playoff experience. Not necessarily Dante Moore. I feel like Dan Lanning, as a head coach, has the advantage in this matchup. Of course, and you can't, like I said, Oregon got some great players. Like I said, you can't forget Mateo Ugongale, one of the top prospects in the 2026 NFL draft. Most likely, he's going to go pro. So he's a five-star junior pass rusher, elite pass rusher. Like I said, again, I know Texas Tech, they got a potential first-round pick in their linebacker, Rodriguez. I forgot his first name. But I think it's going to be close. I just think Oregon's going to win this game. Like I said, last time Oregon and Texas Tech played each other, it was close. But I got the Ducks in a 3-point win over the Raiders in the Orange Bowl, 27-24. I think it's going to be close. But I feel like I just trust Oregon just a little bit more than Texas Tech. Now, granted, would it surprise me if Texas Tech win this game? No, it would not at all. Like I said, but I just think Oregon has a legit shot to win the national championship. Texas Tech does too, but I think Oregon just a little bit more. Next up, we got number 9 Alabama, 11-2, taking on the number 1 team in the country, the Indiana Hoosiers, at 13-0, January 1st, 4 p.m. in the Rose Bowl. Alabama defeated number 8 Oklahoma 34-24 in the first round on the road. They became the first team in the college football playoff era to win a road game in the playoffs. Quarterback Ty Simpson went 18-29, 232 yards and 2 touchdown passes. Like I said, I picked Oklahoma in this win. I just thought, in a close one, I wasn't confident in it because Oklahoma doesn't really have a strong run game at all. Their offense is really not that explosive as far as like putting up points. Now, granted, they'll get an explosive play here and there, like, get a 60-yard touchdown or whatever, 90-yard touchdown here and there, but really they're not all that consistent, and they've been that way all season. But I just thought that because the regular season game they played against Alabama, their defense was elite. They made plays, when they had to, and Alabama offensive line hasn't been that good. They can't run the ball at all, really. And Ty Simpson has been, not completely on him, but hasn't been as he was early in the season where he had like 12 touchdowns and only 1 pick. Even though he's still having a really good season, but they played well. Jeremiah Bernard, and them boys played very well. Ty Simpson played well. They showed up, and kudos to Kalen DeBoer having his team ready in that game against Oklahoma. Now, but they're going against a different animal, Indiana. And I know some people saying, like, I know Cam Newton I seen on his show 4th and 1 on First Take, saying SEC football is different, which it is. And overall, I think, and like in the history, like growing up my lifetime, overall, I think the SEC is the best conference. But right now, it's the Big Ten. And look at it now, the Big Ten has 3 teams still alive for the national championship, in Ohio State, Indiana, and Oregon. SEC, you got Alabama and Ole Miss. And with Lane Kiffin going, I just don't think Ole Miss is really has a legit shot to win the national championship. Alabama, maybe like a dark horse potentially, but if they win this game, I'll give a lot of respect for Alabama if they upset Indiana. But I just think Indiana's too physical. They can run the ball. Fernando Mendoza, the Heisman Trophy winner, has been playing amazing football all year. He's been proving that he can get it done when they need him the most. Like in that game against Penn State, they had their backs against the wall. He led a game-winning drive and won that game against Penn State. Now, granted, Penn State didn't have James Franklin, but that's still a team that you're going against on the road in Happy Valley. And he got it done when they needed him. And like I said, and also when they needed him in the Big Ten championship game against Ohio State, that was a low-scoring game. He led them down and ended up winning that game for Indiana over Ohio State. So, and like I said, also not even just then, Oregon. Indiana I think has just as good as win as almost just as good as wins key wins against just like Alabama does. Like I said, they beat Oregon on the road, out physical them, dominated them. They beat the number 1 team in the country, Ohio State, in the Big Ten championship when nobody else could. So I just feel like Indiana is more physical. They have the better quarterback, and Mendoza over Ty Simpson. I think they have elite receivers. Like granted, Alabama does too, and Ryan Williams and Giamatti Bernard, but Their receivers are more consistent, not dropping passes. They can run the ball. Indiana's defense is very, very good. And, like I said, and I love their head coach also. Just like, Kalen DeBoer. I like Kalen DeBoer also, but I just think Indiana's going to be just a little bit too much for Alabama. I think Alabama might be able to keep it close. Because, like I said, I just don't think they're going to, get steamrolled. So I got Indiana 31-23 over the Crimson Tide to advance to the semifinal round in this matchup. Lastly, we got number 6 Ole Miss 12-1 taking on number 3 Georgia 12-1. This is a rematch from the regular season. This will be January 1st, 8 o'clock in the Sugar Bowl. Ole Miss defeated number 11 Tulane 41-10 in the first round. Again, another Group of 5 team. Now, granted, I said at least one team should get in, and Tulane's not a bad team at all. Really, the past few years, Tulane has never really been a bad team, so I think they did deserve to get in, but obviously Ole Miss was the better team. Ole Miss also played Tulane in the regular season and dominated them then. So it did not surprise me. In that game, quarterback Trinidad Chambliss went 23 of 29, 282 yards, 1 passing touchdown, 2 rushing touchdowns in this game. So he played very well. Now, granted, last time Ole Miss played Georgia, it was in Athens on the road. This would be a neutral site game in the Sugar Bowl. So, but and it was a close game. Ole Miss was winning that game for the most part, but Georgia, credit to them, ended up coming back, led by Gunnar Stockton. They ended up coming back and getting the win over Ole Miss. Now, granted, a key factor in that game, Lane Kiffin was there. He ain't there. Pete Golden now is the head coach for the Rebels. So I just think that's gonna be a key factor in this game. Like I said, I think the offense coordinator, he's gonna be there still calling plays, but I feel like without Lane Kiffin in this matchup, it might be a big difference, just maybe. But I think Ole Miss might be able to keep it. They're gonna be able to keep it close. But I just think Georgia's gonna be a little too much. Their running game, Gunnar Stockton, Zachariah Branch, and that offense, I think they're gonna be just a little bit too much for Ole Miss, and I think this is where it stops. I think Georgia gets to win 30-24 to advance to the semifinal round of the college football playoff. But yeah, y'all, those are my predictions for the quarterfinal. Like I said, starts tomorrow, Wednesday, with Miami and Ohio State. I think that could be maybe a decent, good matchup. But I think that matchup I look forward to the most is Alabama and Indiana, to see how that goes. I think, if Alabama can either out-physical Indiana, how will Indiana look? But I just think that Indiana has a better quarterback, has a better running game, receivers, group of receivers, defense, and they're more consistent. They're not soft, I guess. I know that motivates Alabama because a lot of people have been saying they're soft, but that kind of how it has been in the regular season. Heck, they almost was, could have lost to Auburn. But credit to them, they went to Norman, beat Oklahoma. So that was a good win. I credit to them, so. But if Alabama wants to be really considered a legit college football national championship contender, win this game, you beat Indiana. I think Alabama's legit if they win this game. But I just think that Indiana's going to win this game. I'm not going to fully, if I had to say which two teams I think going to end up meeting in the national championship, it's going to be Indiana and Ohio State, because I think the way it looks is going to look in the semifinal. I think Georgia's going to end up playing Ohio State and Indiana. Yeah. The winner between Oregon and Texas Tech will play either Alabama, Indiana. So in this case, if Oregon does beat Texas Tech, they'll play Indiana, and if Indiana beats Alabama, they'll play Oregon. That'll be one of the semifinal matchups, and then the other one will be between if Ohio State beats Miami, and then Georgia beats Ole Miss. It'll be Ohio State versus Georgia. Yeah, Ohio State versus Georgia in that semifinal game, which I think is going to be two really, really, really good semifinal games right there. But I just think that, of course, I think Indiana already beat Oregon. I just think they're going to out-physical them again. I think that, of course, Mendoza right now is better than Dante Moore. And like I said, with Ohio State and Georgia, that one I feel like can go either way. You got two really, really great elite coaches in Ryan Day and Kirby Smart if they meet in that game. But I have to lean. I think Ohio State and Indiana. If I have to lean, I think them two on a path to a rematch in the national championship game from the Big Ten championship game. And the last time we seen a rematch in the national championship game from a conference championship game was Georgia and Alabama. When Alabama beat Georgia in that SEC championship game a few years ago, and then next you know it ended up in a rematch in the national championship game. Georgia won that game, so yeah, that could be interesting. I think we're on the path towards that, y'all. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. You know, do you think, did I get any of these picks right? Who do you think? Who's on upset alert? Do you agree with all my picks? I know I probably, if I had to guess, because I live here in Alabama, most Alabama fans probably not going to agree with me. But that's fine. As a journalist, I learned a long time ago people not going to agree with your decisions, which that's how it's supposed to be. As a person in the media, even I look at watching ESPN or First Take, I don't agree with their opinions, and not just because I don't say I don't agree. I'll just be like, if I could back up facts that says you're wrong. That's why. But people gonna have their opinion, and hey, that's what having a podcast, being a journalist, is all about. But I definitely appreciate y'all always tuning in for the episode of Camera Sports Podcast. I'll make sure to follow me on all social medias like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and also shit, y'all, I almost forgot. What's the other one, y'all? I remember later. TikTok. Also on TikTok, I'm gonna start posting on there whenever I can. TikTok, all social medias regarding Camera Sports Podcast. And remember, we are now at 300 subscribers, and 2026 is near. The new year's coming. Like I said, please, let's keep grinding. Make sure to click the subscribe button, post notifications, and let's grind to 500. Let's really grind to 1,000 subscribers for 2026. Shoot even higher, and yeah, let's keep going. I'm keep going up. I appreciate y'all, and remember, hey, let's touch down with Cam, and let's keep grinding together. But I'll catch y'all next time for another episode. It's been your favorite host of your favorite sports podcast, Cameron Lindsay, signing out. Y'all take care.